This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have the pleasure of having one of the 3 certified Wim Hof instructors in my office right now, live, to tell you about the importance of breathing, the importance of enjoying the moment and life. And I am a living reference for Avi Greenberg as I completed my course and my ice bath in 48 hours ago.
Ice baptism.
Ice baptism, yes. As a Reformed Jew, I'm comfortable saying that. So thank you for alerting me to my nomenclature. Anyway, so Avi, great to have you on the show. We met 2 days ago, so we're fast friends, and you helped me sleep really well on Saturday night. So why don't you share with people who are part of the Halo movement here, the importance of breathing and how this is really kind of the cornerstone of actually living a healthier lifestyle is, something as simple as breathing.
Sure. Yeah. I'm one of 3 certified instructors here in New York, and my background is entrepreneurship. I started a clothing line, did that for 5 years. We sold to about 100 different retailers across the country and internationally. Then I moved into health and wellness. I worked for an anti-aging medical practice for 2 years. I was also part of sort of the cold pressed juice movement here in New York. I was running wholesale for one of the outfits in the city. And then I moved into tech for about 2 years. I was running sales for a fast growing tech company in the hardware, software, beverage space, and decided to start practicing what I preach in my workshops. I got certified in the Wim Hof Method after 3 years of practicing on my own, and did about 8 workshops, not for money, just for the idea of spreading the practice and reaching more people and sharing what I love to New Yorkers who need sort of a way to detox and de-stress. And I decided in March I was gonna leave my position in sales at the tech company and gave them a soft exit. Ended up leaving in June, and since then it's been, nonstop. I've been working with private clients, with Breathwork, anything from CEOs to professional athletes to personal trainers to you name it, basically. And then I teach workshops as well.
How'd you get tipped off to the Wim Hof Method? Were you seeking it out and say, like, look, I got an issue, I got to solve it, or how'd it come to you
That's
originally?
Exactly right, Pete. I had an issue. I was dealing with some addiction issues. I was addicted to late night eating, my couch, my television, and marijuana. And I was dealing with that for about 20 years. And, I had subpar average energy levels. And, it was kind of status quo for people in modern society. I was, just sitting on my couch way too much. And, I'd go through periods where I'd exercise a lot and decided that I'd reached my breaking point. And that led me to kind of taking a deep dive into the Wim Hof Method. I downloaded his app. At the time, you had to pay $5 for it. Now it's free. And I woke up every morning. I'd get off my bed, get on the couch. I'd start the breathing process, which you participated in this weekend. I do 3.
It was awesome.
Yeah, 3 rounds on my own, non-guided, and I started to feel really good. And I noticed my cravings for the late night eating, for the pot, started to subside. My energy level started to increase. I started to incorporate cold. I had access to a cold plunge at the Standard Hotel in Miami. I joined there. I got a membership. And not just cold and breathing, but I also incorporated heat. I started going into the sauna. And it started slow. I started in the cold plunge for about 30 seconds or a minute. It was that like how most of the people on Saturday experienced it. It was fight or flight the moment my body touched the cold water. And that was only 50 degrees. What you guys did on Saturday was closer to 30, 35 degrees.
Got it.
So
I'm going to probably tell people it was even colder.
Yeah, you can.
Over time.
You can. It was a ton of ice in there. Yeah. So I got 400 pounds for that workshop. But anyway, I started feeling better.
And 400 pounds of ice, by the way. Yeah. We're not using currency here.
Totally. 400 pounds of ice, about a third of it was water. And anyway, with myself, I noticed my cravings and my edge and anxiety at night started to subside. And that's where really the pot addiction came from, was the fear of not being able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And like you said initially, you got great sleep that night. You did the breathing. You guys did about 5 rounds of breathing that I led in, and then we all had ice baths, and it's a lot of outdoor time. We were in the sun. It was a hot day, and that kind of puts you down. And you sleep really well. You wake up energized. You get into really good, deep REM sleep. and you feel recovered, you feel rejuvenated, and you're ready to start your Sunday in a really good mood.
So what's the science behind it?
Sure. So when you're in the cold specifically, you're getting a boost of what's called norepinephrine or noradrenaline. And it's almost basically a hormone. And you're also burning calories in the cold because your body's got to stay warm. So it's almost like a workout, but it's a hormonal workout. It's a cardiovascular workout.
It's like a defensive workout too, right? It's kind of tricking your body.
Correct. It's a hack, as I like to say these days. And what you're doing is you're tricking your body that it's into this fight or flight mode. It's in this highly stressful state. It's an acute level of stress. It's not this low level stress that we deal with every day with work, with technology, with living in the city and running around and kind of always being on guard. This is real stress. This is when you get in, and I'm sure you felt it. Oh my God, I need to get out of this thing. This is really intense.
It was helpful that other people went first, though, to be honest with you. There's a psychology to it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, listen, I personally, when I used to participate in these workshops, not as a leader of them, I like to go first. I like to get it over with. I didn't want to see other people go in and struggle. So when I had the opportunity to kind of participate, I would always volunteer to go first, second, third. So that way I didn't have to think about it too long. For me, the more time I have idly thinking about what could go wrong, what happened to that person, why did they struggle, I like to get it over with.
So the guy that was just here like 5 minutes ago, I asked him for a quote, which I'm sure you got plenty. And I heard some of them, but he says, action prevents anxiety.
Yeah.
So you're like living proof that like, I'm just going to do this.
Totally.
And I got no issues.
Yeah. I don't want to think about it. When I have to do public speaking or anything like that, I like to go first. I like to set a good tone. And it was the same with the ice bath, and set that tone early, let the ice know you're there and you're going to work with it and you're not going to fight it, and submit to it and get in and get out.
So, as you focus on the breathing part, which, after I did it for like 30 minutes, I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe like I didn't do this before.
Yeah.
Like, what was I thinking? And, you said something meaningful, but it was kind of funny at the same time to me. You're like, look, you can breathe. I'm going to count for you. But I would just think like, I don't really need you to count for me, Avi, but thank you.
Yeah.
But then like when you say, okay, I don't actually have to count. All I need to do is focus on my breathing. It's like, it was actually like a fair amount of work to like just get everything straight. So how many times, like it's got to be close to 10 out of 10 times that people just don't know how to breathe properly.
Yeah, it's up there. I don't know if it's 10 out of 10. Unless you're a regular breath practitioner or you're a devout yogi, chances are you're breathing incorrectly. And a lot of what I teach in the workshop is breath work, because that's the thing that is going to have people coming back to my workshops. They can do ice baths on their own, but what will bring them back is me leading them in profound breath work. And if you learn how to breathe well, like his name escapes me now, but he was the English guy that was at the workshop. We talked about nasal breathing. Simon, we talked exclusively about nasal breathing and using nasal breath as it's kind of your daily barometer for breathing. That's what you want to do. Your nose is on your face to breathe specifically. And a lot of the high-performance athletes, when you get to a certain tier of performance, what separates you could be breath.
Right.
And when you're breathing through your nose and you're breathing in a high level with your nose, I mean, that's the way you're supposed to be breathing. So the idea is that you want people to not have to think too much. We're in our heads too much with a lot of our daily routine. So in this moment, I want people just to relax. I want them to breathe and give them a couple good tidbits, things to think about. And then once we get into the breathing, just let them go with it and let them lose themselves in breath. And, we release about 60% of the toxins in our body through our lungs. So people talk about detoxing, sweating things out, eating clean, cleanses, intermittent fasting. Really, I mean, you really want to clean out your body. You could just breathe profoundly and get into a healthy, regular breath practice. And it's a game changer. Yeah.
Well, I did a SoulCycle class yesterday. Not bragging, just reporting to everyone. Yeah. And it was an hour class, Survivor, and I was breathing through my nose the entire time.
That's
and
awesome.
I could have gone longer.
That's awesome.
So it
man.
definitely was great. What's your thoughts on incorporating this into like a salt room? as well. Have you done
I've
salt?
spoken to a facility here in New York, in the East Village, and we haven't been able to line up, but I love the idea. I've done salt caves before, and I always feel the effects of it, the detoxing effects when I walk out. So I love the idea. I know there's other Wim Hof instructors nationally that do breath work at salt caves, and I think it works really well together.
Gotcha. So, as you go around and, give these clinics, what kind of feedback do you get? What kind of things have people said they had issues with that this fixed?
Yeah.
Not that you're like, we're not on TV here.
Sure,
like
yeah. And I'm not a
magician or something.
I'm not a guru or magician or anything like that. I'm just someone that pulled himself out of a dark place and used a cool technique to implement that. But some people, I met with a guy today one-on-one, and he's dealing with addiction issues. He was at my 2-day workshop a couple weeks ago, and, he wanted to talk about that. I've dealt with people that have a ton of sleep issues, and I find that to probably be the most prevalent issue that we're seeing these days in these workshops. A lot of people are dealing with just low-level stress all the time. They're not winding down. They're going home after, 8, 9, 10-hour work days, and they're staying in it. They're staying on their laptop. They're staying in their emails. They're staying in this low-level sympathetic state, this fight-or-flight state, and they're not sure why they can't go to sleep and wake up with energy. And they're, waking up the next day and they're hitting the coffee hard. Then they're hitting their Barry's boot camps, their soul cycles, and they're getting injured and they don't know why. And, it's oddly enough, a lot of these people are in the fitness industry. They're in the wellness industry, and they're go, go, go all the time. And they're go, go, go with the social media. There's no time to recover. There's no time to reset. That's why, I love places in New York like Hacked, for example, or Recover in the city. And, you mentioned the salt caves. These places are specifically geared towards giving people an opportunity to reset, recover, and rejuvenate their hormone levels. And that's what I'm seeing the most of, especially in New York.
Yeah. So with we're invested in Higher Dose. And
cool.
The
Another perfect example.
Yeah, reason people go in there just to kind of like unplug and just kind of chill out and reset. So that's great. So has there been any push towards Wim Hof into like elementary schools or high schools? Because you see all these kids like completely stressed out, and I definitely, they never had like a breath class. Or
I don't know if Wim Hof specifically, because you saw from the workshop, it can be intense with the breathing and the ice baths. I think that there are teachers and there are people within schools that are pushing more conscious breathing, teaching kids to slow it down and do some breathing. I think especially in schools with maybe more inner city style schools, there's a lot of stress. The stress doesn't end once they leave school. The stress sometimes just really begins. And if you could teach them protocols to wind down and to give themselves an opportunity to recover and to get out of that sympathetic, stressful state, it's gonna really be powerful for them. I'm friends with another Wim Hof instructor based in Brooklyn, and his business partner is a school teacher, and I know she's been implementing breath work. And for me, I do workshop private. I do big workshops. I work with private clients, but I always try to work with people that maybe don't have the money to hire me full time or hire me for a one-on-one session. Someone that maybe needs breath work, that has a drug addiction issue, or whatever the case may be, and just kind of provide a service to someone that really needs it, that may not afford it.
So through our network, and I've been doing this for 20 years now, and the people that are listening to this podcast either own a fitness studio, own a regional health club chain, might own hundreds of health clubs. How, like, obviously you and I attended like an extended version of like actually understanding and learning how to do the Wim Hof Method. But is there, do you see in the future, and maybe this is something we could help promote, that like, okay, once you learn how to do it, like, before a class, let's say the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock class, like for 20 minutes before, we're going to do like stretching and Wim Hof. Yeah. And then, because I know that you're going to accelerate, you're going to be able to work out more.
Totally.
And you're going to feel better afterwards. And the revenue side for the club is that, okay, this person's going to stay and maybe take a second class. Totally. Yeah. So do you see, is there any of that being infused into traditional health clubs yet? Or should
just
we work
starting
on
the conversations, and it's mostly independent boutique style gyms. It's not yet hit the mass market where, a Planet Fitness or one of these national brands wants to partner yet. But I think it's going to happen at some point because, like you said, when you do Wim Hof breathing 3 to 5 rounds, you get your adrenaline level up. you get an increase in red blood count. You're really you're pushing your system before you even get going on a bike or on a treadmill. And before I do a workout, before I go for a cold run in the wintertime, I'm doing 5 rounds and I'm feeling great when I'm
How
when I'm
long
on
does
the
that
run.
take?
20 minutes, 25 minutes. Depends on the retentions. It depends on how long people are holding their breath. But you could also, if I needed to dial it down and set it up where it's going to be a 15, 20-minute situation, that's easy too. You can really, change it up for each person, each group.
And it is typically pretty standard how you do it, almost like, with yoga, you got like, I don't know, I might be wrong, but it's like 21 yoga moves.
Yeah,
and
that's how
poses.
Bikram works. Yeah, with Wim and with Breathwork, for me, it's not standard. I like to tailor it to how I feel that particular day, or if I'm working with a specific group. Last week I worked with a few ladies that work at the assemblage, and I'm going to be doing weekly breathwork there.
Okay. Yep.
And they wanted me to sort of sit down in a room with 3 of the program directors and show them some breathing. And it was like today, super hot out. I could feel their energy when they walked in the room. They were kind of beat. They were kind of spent. These girls are running around between 3 different campuses all over the city, dealing with customer issues, whatever it is. And I could just feel that they needed a calming, restorative style breathing practice.
Okay.
So I dialed it in for them. And for you guys on Saturday, it was really hot again. So the breathing style I dialed in was a little bit more restorative. It wasn't over the top. And, there was about a handful of the participants that fell asleep during the breathing. I remember Sam mentioned, he kept saying, I want to fall asleep. I want to fall asleep. I just said, dude, fall asleep.
Yeah.
Listen to your body. Don't fight that,
Sure. So, as you go forward here in New York City, what do you want to see happen? And obviously, not many people know about. I mean, I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
I knew about the Iceman, but I didn't really tie everything together.
Yeah. I would love to have more emphasis on breathwork, and breathwork being used as a tool to help people get, into a more relaxed state of being. I think, I walk around the city and I see a lot of people suffering, with inflammation and stress and anger. I mean, you're in the car and you see people with road rage. And I think if people developed a regular breath practice, it'd be helpful. And, I'd love to see more facilities offer cold. I think having space where a cold plunge is accessible and people can get into the cold, and obviously higher doses doing great things with the heat. I like to go to the Russian baths. I think it's really helpful. And I always tell people that I bring to the Russian baths for the first time, I want you to kind of take in mind how you feel when you walk in, and I want you to feel how you walk out.
Sure.
And whenever people walk out of the Russian baths, they feel like $1 million. If it's 100 degrees out or if it's 10 degrees out, they always feel great. And it's that high level acute hormetic stress. And I think if we start inviting stress in as a tool to work with, like we talked about at the workshop, people are going to start to feel a lot better.
How angry do you get when you see these commercials that have half of the commercial is side effects of or you have asthma. It's like, but you could take this pill and you might not have as many asthma outbreaks, but you're going to have suicidal thoughts. And I'm just like, that's probably, I don't know how that got approved.
Totally. It's, you know what it is. It's big business. These people, they're suffering, and there's the easy way out for them, or easy way is just continued use of prescription medications. And in long term, there's no real results that are going to be positive in that instance. And I get certain illnesses, you need treatment, you need doctors. My dad's a physician. He's an ER director of 30 plus years. Uncle's physician, cousins, you name it. My whole family, I come from a family of doctors. And I think teaching people that they have the tools and the abilities to heal themselves is a powerful mindset. And I think once people realize that they can take the power back, and that they can be, strong enough to heal themselves, and give them the confidence and the tools they need to get to that point, that's what I love to see. Yeah.
Well, I think, everything about education is kind of baby steps. And you just, several years ago, nobody was talking about infrared saunas. Nobody's talking about acupuncture to the masses. Not, people were talking about breath work, but it wasn't tangible.
Yeah. It wasn't mainstream, and it's still not, and I think the fact that people are still moving towards this kind of stress-filled lifestyle, it's causing places like Higher Dose, like Hacked, like, Wim Hof Method, all these things are going to keep popping up. I mean, you walk through the city now, and every block you see CBD everywhere. There's CBD here, CBD there. And it's because people are struggling and they're looking for the quick fix. And I don't know that there is a quick fix. I think it's lifestyle changes. I think it's changing your diet, changing eating habits, changing, exercise routines, changing recovery, and changing the mindset, like you said, and it takes time. And I think what I love most about the Wim Hof method is it doesn't take long to feel the difference. Like you said, you fell asleep really well that night, and it was one day. It wasn't like you didn't do a 2-week, 3-week, 1-month program. Right. You came in one day. We did an hour worth of breathing. We talked for about 3 hours, and then everyone did 1, 2, 3 minute ice baths. And that was it. And you see the results. And in our community, in the Wim Hof instructor community, and Wim Hof says, feeling is believing. And I think that's what people need, is tangible results. Just
on the point of the CBD, they sell CBD in like a ultra sized frog gummy bear that's like filled with sugar.
Right,
I'm like, this was not the intention, though, right?
Totally. And who knows how they're making it, and what part of the plants they're using, and what kind of factory. So it's kind of gone too far in that sense. But there are really great products, CBD products. I use it at home. My girlfriend, we use it all the time, and it can be really healing, but when you're going to your local bodega to get, a bottle of water, and they're selling CBD gummies and inhalers and this and that, it's gone too far.
Yeah, the guy that buys the M&Ms should not also be like approving the CBD purchase is what it comes down to.
Totally.
Well, look, I want to make sure everyone in our network knows about this. I want to, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Maybe give a little quick web address or email.
I'm building my website now. It should be ready by end of the week. It's Avi.Greenberg. It's avigreenberg.com, and it's BERG, and you can find me on Instagram at Avi, AVILU. And I'm also on the Wim Hof platform. So me and all the other instructors nationally, internationally, Australia, Europe, all over, Mexico, you name it. There's instructors everywhere now. It's growing fast. So those are probably the easiest ways. And, I work privately. I work in group workshops. And, I also do just breath work strictly.
Well, I am a living testament that you can simply change your life by just breathing properly.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone to test out this method and let it become part of your workout regimen, because it needs to be part of your routine, and you will get results from it. And I am now a Wim Hof enthusiast.
Cool.
Or evangelist, maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Born again Hofist.
Born again Hofist. And next time we will get Brett Keith. Shout out to Brett Keith to get us little tubs that have no holes in the bottom.
Oh yeah, listen, I got 2 at home. My girlfriend and cat love them. Brett Keith, thanks for having me out in the Hamptons. And man, that guy can breathe, huh? He can really pull in some air.
Breathe.
He's a big breather.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Great to see you again.
Thanks, Pete.